Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, my name is Dr. Keith McNally, and this is Coach's Corner. I'm here with Holly Jean Jackson, and it's very specific that I say Holly Jean Jackson, but we're here to talk about what she does professionally, and she does many, many things, and she does them very, very well. But today we're going to talk about peak performance consulting. Holly Jean Jackson, give me some heads up as to what peak performance consulting is, why it's important, and how you're able to do it.
Yeah, great question. So, as a peak performance consultant, I work anywhere from solopreneur to Fortune 100 organizations. And how I help an individual leader or a leadership team achieve peak performance, we dig into three foundational elements. So, the first one is their health, because ideally, if you have really unhealthy leaders, you have really unhealthy employees, you have a really unhealthy workplace. And you cannot lead and create a vision where people are going to walk the talk of what your leaders are doing if they don't have energy. And you can't build something without energy and health. The second foundational element is really around clarity. And there's a lot of underlying elements beneath that, but organizations oftentimes forget their vision, their mission. They don't have defined values, especially when they're smaller. And it's really difficult to hire the right employees, build the right employee experience, and brand yourself correctly with the right messaging if you don't have that clarity. So I work with leaders and organizations on making sure that they're super dialed in on their vision, their mission, their values, and that they're leading in a way that's aligned to those values and that vision. And then the third core element is really around business. So it's dialing in that employee experience, dialing in that customer experience. And that means business excellence and obsession with both of those experiences. Because if you're not having an amazing employee experience and culture, boy, your employees are dragging. They can't be innovative. They can't solve problems for your customers. And if you don't have an obsession with your customer experience, you're going to lose your customers. You become irrelevant. So that's the shortest way I can tangibly describe peak performance for you.
Well, we're going to dive into each one of those. So you mentioned health, clarity, and business. And so business is the holistic element, I guess, of what they're doing. And talk to me about the importance of health. And so when I think health, immediately I'm thinking the physical body, but it's beyond just, eating the right foods and making sure that you've consumed enough water. What is optimal health in your vision?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, when I'm working with leaders, it's making sure that they have created a culture and work experience that allows people to show up energized, right? So leaders, they're not, burning the candle at both ends or expecting, even in startup organizations, that their employees burn the candle at both ends. If you are sleep deprived, you literally lose brain cells and you cannot be innovative. You cannot solve problems, right? So it's about making sure that they are giving space for their employees and walking the talk as leaders of not just showing up exhausted, which is ironic because both Keith and I are tired today, which is not my normal walking the talk, but occasionally I am human. I'm not Superwoman. And so, yeah, we're a little sleepy today. But it's dialing in, getting enough sleep. It's dialing in, making sure that, you're not just providing, startups, they provide like soda and unhealthy snacks and pizza and whatnot. It's actually looking at your model as an organization so that you can optimally provide an experience and culture of health. But that starts with the leader. If you have a leader that's not caring about their sleep or their health in general, then how can you expect your employees to do the same?
And then you speak on clarity, and I think I liked what you said. Well, I liked what you said. You, you. It's a very clear focus, and I don't want to be redundant. You hone in on one thing, something. What does that clarity mean?
Yeah, so a lot of organizations, they'll, when they first start, they'll have like this vision or mission, but they don't really tangibly tie that to specific goals that they set for the organization, or they forget to communicate it as they grow really quickly, especially startups or even large organizations. They lose sight of the vision. And if you really look at it, when I work with my clients, we put together their compass as an organization and as a leader and as individuals. And your compass is made up of that long-term vision, which is super motivating. It should be exciting to you as a leader and to your employees. But it also has your life priorities, your specific upcoming quarterly goals for your organization and your business. And what that does is it allows you to say yes to the things that are aligned to that compass and no to the rest. Because if you're saying yes to everything that's not on that compass, eventually you're forced to say no to the things that are going to get you 1% closer to that long-term vision. And so it's helping the leader communicate this clearly to the company, to the organization, and walk alongside the values that are getting them to that vision. And then making sure that you're hiring people that believe in that same vision and mission, that have similar values, because there are certain things you simply cannot train to your employees. And so building that compass, building that clarity, building that clear North Star for hiring as you expand as an organization is 100% essential for creating an amazing employee experience and a business that's set up for success to achieve that goal.
Do you use the word compass and North Star when you are communicating? Because those are very clear metaphors or analogies in terms of what we need to address and what we need to focus on. So how does that conversation take place? Can you give an example?
Yeah, I mean, one of the tools that I use with my clients, whether it's consulting clients, previous coaching clients, we use their life and business compasses, a specific tool that we put together in one of our early sessions. And
Okay.
it's called Compass intentionally because
Is it
when
an
you're working,
acronym?
no, it's not an acronym.
Okay.
It's not, but there are visuals in there, and I teach them how to use their built compass to say yes and no to things. And I call it the compass, and I even speak to the North Star because leaders keep backing themselves into the same corner over and over again. And it's because they're not using their compass. They have no idea what their life priorities are. They have no idea what their long-term vision is because they're not keeping it front and center. And they have no idea what their quarterly goals are. And they have no idea how to break those goals down into tangible steps that are going to get them 1% closer to their goal each day. So when you have that compass, that North Star, and you put it as a screensaver on your phone, as a screensaver on your desktop, you print it out and put it on your fridge, you share it with your spouse, you share it with your entire team. Everybody's clear on what is front and center for Keith. Everybody's clear on what's front and center for Holly. You understand what my priorities are and you know what to say yes and no to. And you stop backing yourself into this corner where I'm too busy. I can't accomplish this. And you actually start making tangible momentum towards your real goals.
I like that. But third, you talked about business. And so from health to clarity to, I guess, business processes, or you also mentioned business culture, and you've mentioned business culture a lot today. And that that is a dynamic all in itself. How do all those pieces fit into place when you're talking about business as the third part?
Yeah. So the third part is really achieving business excellence, right? Culture is kind of at the heart of all these things. If you don't have a healthy culture, you're not going to have innovation. If you don't have a healthy culture, you have no idea what clarity is if you're not healthy because you're just so exhausted and beat up that you're just trying to kind of band-aid the pieces together. You don't know what the real problems are.
Mhm.
So it's really important to build a healthy culture, a clear culture, and to be obsessed with business excellence. Now, for me, business excellence, if we keep it as simple as possible, stems on being obsessed with your employee experience, meaning you're creating that phenomenal experience for your culture. They're healthy, they understand the vision and the mission, they follow the leaders because the leaders are walking the talk of everything we've already discussed. And then you're obsessed with your customer experience and you teach your employees how important that obsession is. The reason that's so important today is these days there's so many competitors in almost every single market. You're going to be competing based on experience. So how do you stay relevant to your customers? By obsessing with what their new problems are, obsessing with how we can make their life even better. How can we delight our customers? And that means looking at data points. It means having conversations. It means building relationships and doing an excellent job at that customer experience. Are you losing customers 6 months in? Are you losing clients at a specific touch point?
Mm.
What is the problem there? How can we optimize that and turn a loss into a delightful conversion where you keep that customer for life? So we dig into these two experiences to optimize them, and you can see how they build on each other. If you don't have an amazing employee experience, do you think your customer experience is going to be any good? Absolutely not.
Well, I was
So
actually, that was my question. How did the two correlate between an employee and experience and the customer experience? And would you have a story to share? Because stories are always cool.
yeah. So for example, let's say I can't say specific names because
That's
there's a
okay.
lot of yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's say Debbie. We'll make up Debbie. Debbie hires me. She says, Holly, my company, let's call it the Focus Company. The Focus Company, we're struggling right now. Okay, Debbie, we come in, we look at her organization, and we notice that there's a lot of issues with their employee experience, meaning they have a lot of sick days that are being taken, a lot of turnover with their employees. And we start looking at, okay, why is this happening? We get to like the heart of why that's happening. We fix that. What this does is then your employees are aligned, meaning like some of the people at this organization never should have been hired. They were not aligned to the mission, the vision, the values. And that's not something you can train. There are skills you can train, but you can't train who people are.
Right.
When you hire the right people that are aligned to that, and you have a leader that's showing up, clearly communicating that information, magical things happen. So once we had that alignment, got rid of the bad apples, pulled in some better people that were a fit and aligned to that cultural experience, that starts building a solid foundation where you can start actually looking at your customer experience. Now, you have to have that first, because if you don't, then your employees are just there for a paycheck. They don't care. But once we did that and Debbie got the message of how important it was to hire based on vision and mission alignment, and in particular value alignment to an organization,
Mhm.
then you have the heart, you capture the heart of that organization. And it's much easier to relate to your customers, because when you're marketing as a company, you are doing specific things to attract and magnetize ideal fit customers based on your vision and mission and values. And if you have employees that have the opposite vision, mission, and values of your customers, you can see how there's going to be like this water and oil clashing.
Right.
So once you dial that in, oh my goodness, the customer reviews went up 80%. The innovation ideas of employees, because we started giving space for employees to say, hey, Debbie, I have this idea. This 6-month thing is not working. We're seeing a 20% down spike in subscriptions at 6 months in. Here are 3 ideas we have to fix that hole. Let's do this. Customer X said this. This is why I think this is the best one we should, experiment with first. And by the way, our other customer relationship person is telling us that this other customer is having this particular issue. We want to get ahead of that before we see a downturn at 9 months out. So you can see now that you're giving responsibility to that employee, and they care because their values are aligned to the people they're serving. You get innovation, you get excitement, you have buy-in, and you don't lose employees. So you reduce turnover, which also saves a lot of money.
Well, to be quite honest, it sounds like you are a superhero to companies. Yes?
Well, thank you, Keith. I'll take that a compliment today.
Well, will you just turn this company, even though it may have been hypothetical, it's now 80% better according to your numbers. So that's awesome. And it is awesome. So with the time that we have left, how, what would you leave our audience today to, a couple nuggets of gold here to improve performance optimally?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I would say in 30 seconds would be dial in your compass. What are the top 5 life priorities that matter to you? What are your next 3-quarter goals that are specific, actionable, tangible with dates and numbers? And what is your long-term vision and mission? And then use that to say yes to things and no to things, share it with your organization, and encourage the rest of your team to do the same. You're going to get tangible momentum, 1% growth, and eventually that snowballs into incredible growth.
Holly Jean Jackson, thank you for this conversation. I'm going to leave all of your contact information in the description of the video. but mostly where do you hang out? Are you on LinkedIn or YouTube, or where is the most applicable place for people to find you?
Yeah, it would be best to either find me on LinkedIn or email, honestly.
Okay. Well, again, this has been another edition of Coach's Corner. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Take care.